All right, we're live.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, Peter.
Oh, exciting. So this is the start of a brand new thing. I talked Burke into a potentially bad idea. I don't know.
We're going to find out. Yeah, we've signed ourselves up for at least a couple of months of this, maybe.
Maybe. So it's a summer project. The deal is we've been using, so a while ago, Burke and friends created a cool website called the URL. How do you pronounce it?
It's the URL list. It's, naming things is hard. That's like the first rule of computer science.
Yep.
Maybe we should just look at the application that we built and
let's go for it. Okay.
That way. Okay, hold on. Let me just share my screen here. And then we'll tell people what we're actually doing here. Yeah. Yep. So John, if you can add that to the stream, because I don't have any rights.
Let's do that. Awesome.
So this is it. So this is the application, and it looks. It's just sharing like a weird. Hold on, let me try this again.
All right.
Share screen. Share the whole screen. Entire screen. This will be better. Watch this.
All of it.
So this is a real world application. And we built it, myself and a gentleman named Cecil Phillip, who used to work here and is now at Stripe, I believe. But the idea was that we would kill two birds with one stone. So we would build this application that actually we needed, and we would also use it to proof out building static web apps on Azure, which used to be quite a tricky and difficult thing to do. It is not anymore. This application is quite a few years old. So let me just walk everybody through what this application actually does. So here's the idea. The idea was that as presenters, Cecil and I were going around to, give these talks. At the end of a talk, you want to give people a list of resources. And so you put up this slide, and everybody takes their phone out and takes a picture of the slide with like 10 links on it.
Right.
And that just didn't make any sense to us, because I don't think people go home and then type in the URLs. They're like, why can't we have one URL that has all of the URLs that we want to give people? So that's the idea, right? So you think of it like Bitly, and that's exactly how it works. So,
and Bitly's okay, but it's not great for this exact kind of thing, right?
Right. We wanted something very simple and straightforward. And so what you do here is, you have a new links. Let's see if this is used or not used. Okay. So, and you give the description, a new list of links, and then you just start adding links, right? So,
and there's some neat stuff that it's doing here, which is not completely obvious. So you put in that address, and it actually it's going slow for some reason, but normally it'll go and it'll grab a thumbnail, the title and description. It actually grabs those from the site, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It uses the open graph to try to pull this stuff, and you can see it's pulling it in. See this, y'all? And it's pulling this from the OG tags in the head of the pages, right? And the API is doing this. It's making a call and then returning it to the front end. And so, all of this stuff, it looks simple, but there's actually a lot going on here, which I think was the point Jon was getting at. Let's have him.
One quick question that came in just as you're doing this. They're saying, will it be open source? So you built this. This is already open source.
It is already open source, yes. And we'll send you, like, Twitter returns no information. That's odd.
Yeah, Twitter's always been kind of a pain with these.
Yeah, actually, Twitter is the reason why we're here. All this will be open source. So you can see, like, if they have an icon, we pull that back, and then you can edit this stuff, right? Like, if you wanted to just say, like, we don't need all this, people know what Microsoft is, like, take that out. And then when you're ready, you can click publish. But before I do that, I'll also show you that you can, like, there's some UI stuff in here that's, like, not easy to do, right? Yeah. It's dragging and dropping and making sure, like, you can't leave the area. Because we want people to be able to read. And when you do this, it's reordering in the database, right? Which, again, like, these are things that we take for granted as being, like, simple. And then you go do it, and you're like, golly, this is so simple. It shouldn't be this hard. So when you publish, go ahead.
Well, so you built this, you wrote this cool blog post. I thought this was amazing. And we've actually been using this on the .NET community stand-ups for the past, I don't know, since you built it, basically.
You were one of the first users, one of our early adopters.
And we actually built it into the website. So, like, on the .NET website, it'll actually has
go over there.
Yeah, just go live.net.
live.net.
Sorry, take it, not dot, just net. Sorry.
Live.
Okay, DOT, period.
Like this?
Yep.
That is hard to explain.
So this is like, if you go scroll down a little bit on the right side, click on community stand up.
Okay, right here.
Yep. And click on so we have this community links, and it's built to kind of integrate in with the URL list. So we've been just doing this in the meantime, right? Because we're solving a problem. Actually, that's why we're here. I don't know. Do you want to explain the?
Yeah. So we can go back here. So when we publish this, y'all can actually hit this URL now, right? So this works. You can give this out, right? And then you can do things like, if you're in a session, you can put up a big QR code that people can scan, right? So this is the idea. But it also used to have this ability for you to log in. And if you log in, then you can maintain lists of your links, because a lot of times, you go back and you want to add things, or new tutorials are created. We want to add those to the list because we want to give people all the right resources.
Yeah.
And so here's what happened, y'all.
And like, if you saw, I've got, I don't know, hundreds. I've got so many of them saved up there, right? Because I actually go and, like, I'll update them, like, during a community stand-up show. Somebody will, like, share a link, and I'll add it to the list, like, during the show. So
yeah, I mean, I think y'all probably have the most. Although when we were looking through the database to see, like, how many users did we actually have, like, how much was this going to sign in being down, as you can see, how many people does it affect? The answer is more than we thought. And so it is being used. So what happened here, folks, and the reason why Jon and I are here is that the login with Twitter stopped working, and we're not 100% sure why. But we believe it's due to some API changes that were made on their side. But again, that's speculation. I did open a ticket with them and was just told we won't be able to resolve this issue the way that you're requesting. And so we were then left with, well, what do we do?
Yeah, right.
Do we just add a different auth provider, or do we take an opportunity?
This is what I talked you into.
Yes.
Right. So because you originally built this, like you said, it was difficult to put all this stuff together. You did this very early days with static web apps. And it's like, this was using the very early implementations of static web apps, right? So you have, it's a Vue app with Azure Function backend and Cosmos DB.
Yeah, it's Cosmos DB is the database. Azure Functions is the API. It actually runs on Azure Storage.
Azure Storage, which is exactly, which
And then front
yeah.
door is in there as well, because you have to have that to handle all of the URLs like www and then the root URL, the URL list. So there's a lot of pieces, and we don't really need any of these anymore. It was kind of a workaround.
So, and like you're saying, so many things when you explain, like, I built this site to do this. And like, for instance, one of the sites I was really proud of building a long time ago, I worked on the site that hosted March Madness, the basketball tournament, and it was live streaming video. And nowadays it's like not actually that hard to stream video on the internet. Back then we worked on it for months, you know, and like all these things with fallback and, you know, like processing video and stuff. So like, this is an example where you had to work super hard to get this to work. And now there's actually like Azure just offers a service, Azure Static Web Apps, that will host a static app. And to answer Victor's question, yeah, the plan here is it's going to be a static web app with a Blazor WebAssembly front end.
Yeah. So that was the idea. We talked about like, well, should we rewrite it in React or because right now the front end, and we can pull this up and look at this, but
yeah,
the front end. So this is the front end of the application. And let me reduce the zoom here. It's a little bit excessive, but it's a Vue application. So if you don't know Vue, I wouldn't worry too much about that, right? Like the whole point here is that
disclosure, I don't know Vue.
It uses Vue and it uses TypeScript, and the way that Vue uses TypeScript has changed, right? So even if we were going to just modernize the app, that would be a huge deal. And so we just thought it was a cool opportunity to port this to a completely different technology as a learning project for people who might want to learn Blazor. And my experience that I bring here is mostly front end. However, I know a modicum of C# from my former days and a modicum of ASP.NET MVC, which involves Razor.
Yep.
And it is my understanding that with those two things, I should be able to port my knowledge of front end over to building this as a Blazor application.
That's the hope. And my background, so I'm mostly an ASP.NET dev. Like I mostly have done server stuff like Razor Pages and MVC. I've done some Blazor, and I will say that I agree with like the hope there is that, or kind of the selling point of Blazor is you can take your ASP.NET dev skills, your C# and, you know, Razor skills, and use them to write front end apps. I found that to be mostly the case. Like it really does translate pretty smoothly over. So,
well, we're going to take you up on that. See if that's actually the case. Let's see.
So we've got an argument here. So no.
What do you want? What do you want us to do? What should we do it in? Come on, look. We're not going to change our minds, but this is
it's too late now. The show is called Burke Learns Blazor, so you know we're bought in now.
Even if I don't want to learn it, I now have to. So I'm not going to dive into this code, right? Because there's a lot to it, and I don't know that we'll be doing this as we go forward every week, trying to work through this. But today, I think, John, we talked about. Here's what we're going to try to get done today, y'all. Today, the goal is to pick the right. Talk about Blazor and pick the right architecture, right? Yeah. And then scaffold out the project that we need, get that thing deployed to Azure, and then look at the basics of Blazor. So that's essentially the agenda for today. That's what we're going to try to accomplish in the next, hour.
Should we look a little bit at, like, I know you don't want to dive into this too much, but like just to understand the current architecture. So we've got a front end. You actually have a whole blog post too that like.
Yeah, I do. And it actually, we linked to, I think I linked to it from the site actually. Yeah, so this is published on Hacker Noon. Oh, I moved it as an active protest. So this does talk about it. And this blog post shows if we could log in, this is what you would actually see in the My Lists. The GitHub repo for this, there's an org called the URL list, and underneath it you'll see that we've got. So here's the front end, and here's the back end. And the back end is a C# Azure Functions project. There's Cecil. Again, I don't know much about how this code works at all, which is part of the problem. But these are all the API methods essentially. So
I got to say, this is, you sent over a what's it called? A workspace? Edge
a workspace. Yeah.
I see you scrolling through this on you shared the workspace with me, and it's, as you're clicking through, it updates on my screen. It's really cool.
No kidding.
Not scrolling, but as you click through different tabs and stuff on here, it changes.
I wonder if can we like share it out to the masses? Is that possible?
Maybe
invite,
but I think
copy link.
Okay, sure, why not?
Why not? What could possibly go wrong here? Hold on, I have to.
You can just use StreamYard. Okay, yeah, you can send it.
Yeah, I need to get a login for this account.
You can send it in the thing on the right, the 3 people thing, and then I can paste it.
I just copied it into Teams. If you want to back
channel. Okay, let me bring up the Teams. Teams works too. Okay. Okay, exciting. Who knows? We'll test out this how this thing works in real time. Dangerous. Victor says it's dangerous, and we're living on the edge.
We are. I mean, this can't be bad, can it?
Like, who knows? Maybe the show ends disastrously. Yeah.
Okay, don't take control of my Edge workspace, please. Wow, that is quite the URL. Look at that.
It is. It's funny that it's an AKAMS, which is like a short link, and then a super long like ID.
Listen, y'all, only at Microsoft can you get a URL this long, okay?
Yeah. We're good at it. Okay, so there's the front end view, which we're going to be replacing. Now, a question here. We've got this back end, which is an Azure Function app. And part of what we want to do is, somebody said it redirects them to docs.
So, maybe it's locked too because I'm logged in for work. I bet you it's locked too.
Could be. All right. Well,
we tried.
We can add that. So we're actually like, I don't know that we need to add this to it, but we're talking about having a project where we can add issues to it or whatever, and we could, like, however we want to share it to people, we could.
Yeah, we actually have that here, so we can share this. Oh, it might be because I'm on Firefox. Yeah, it might be. Victor. The Edge workspace is only going to work on Edge.
Nah, other people said they're having them.
All right, we can put this one in though, John, if you want to, because you've got this.
Yeah, although you know what, I'm not sure. We may end up, depending how much work you've done in here, we may want to delete and recreate this repo.
Yeah, I'm going to create the static web app.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Okay.
So that brings us to some things on the implementation. So right now we've got a C# functions app as the backend.
Right.
We have an option to build just a Blazor front end and hook it up to that existing one. We also have the option to kind of build a brand new function and copy functionality into it.
That is true.
And I'm guessing that the Azure function that you built it's a few years old, and there's maybe some things you might do slightly differently this time around.
See, that's the thing, and you can bring your own functions app, but it does require, like, there's bindings in there and stuff that I don't really understand that you have to do for functions that I don't believe we need to do if we just make a static web apps API. Plus, it just feels better to have it all in the same
brand new thing.
Yeah.
And another nice thing is you can kind of run them side by side and kind of, you know what I mean? Like, we can mess with this without worrying about doing something weird in the function and the live app. So
yeah, that's true. And breaking the live app, breaking production. Production is already broken though.
I mean, but breaking it more, right?
Breaking it more. Okay, so should we get into like creating this application? Like,
yeah, so a way to do this is you can go to, well, you can just, do you have a link for it?
Let's see, we can create an AKA here.
Yeah, you can even just paste that in, right? Yeah, either way. People will see how we create the AKAs.
Oh yeah, it's behind the scenes. Look at this fancy tool, everybody. All right. This is a target URL.
This is what we do every time we share an AKA link.
Blazor, learn Blazor, learn. It's like we'll call this a Blazor SVA. See if anybody put some of these alias in here. John,
it's
I have to move this off the screen so I'm gonna show your alias.
Okay.
But yeah, let me.
Although I don't know, our alias is very secret.
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's your email address.
It is my email, but
let's just show it to everybody.
Yeah. So JOGALLOW is my alias, but I always use. Yeah, you can do that. You actually don't even have to include the domain. You just do.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
that's why it's telling me.
Yeah, and then do create.
Security group or co-owner cannot. It's like the errors under this.
Yeah, you've got a co-owner. Don't worry about
anything. Yeah, you can just create. This is like UI.
Yeah,
approved here. Okay.
So now, it's got that little copy. There we go.
But I can't paste anything in the chat. I guess I can do it here. What's the setup? We got to fix, y'all. We're gonna smooth this out. It's gonna be better. I promise.
Yeah. All right.
So if you want to, you can go through this. What we're gonna do with us.
So what I recommend we do, there's a few things we could do. We can do this in kind of a throwaway one where we're just doing a dry run, or we could do it in the repo. It's kind of up to you what feels right to you. If you want to feel like we can actually feel like we've made some progress,
that's what I'm thinking. Like if we go through it, then we will actually have done it, right? And we'll at least have the scaffolded base. And I think you're right. We're gonna have to create a new GitHub repo, but let's see how it goes.
Okay, let's do this.
All right, I say we just jump in. It says I need Visual Studio 2022, but I don't think this is actually true, is it?
It's not. I mean, so let's work through it. This has you do it using the using Visual Studio, but you can also do this using VS Code now. So let's kind of make it work.
So let's see. Let's go through and see what we can do here. So do we want to go through all these concepts? I'm more of like I just get through it. Okay.
We can kind of sum stuff up. So static web app, it's like it's basically doing what you were doing before, right? It's serving a static. So other things like app service, you actually have a backend server that's doing logic on the server, right? And a static web app is different. It's for front end code that's doing all the work in the browser. So like your Vue app or like Blazor in this case, if we're doing Blazor WebAssembly. And so it's serving everything. Like, so the server is just a static file server, right?
Yep.
And then you do need to do some sort of backend stuff that says, hey, you did this thing, you did drag and drop, save the update to the database, and we're going to use Azure Functions for that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of like a full circle, y'all. You know, we had in the beginning, we just had HTML files and JavaScript files and CSS. And then we had the server component where the server would build that stuff for you. And now we're back. We're back to, well, we'll just have the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in this with Blazor, in this case, WebAssembly as well. And so because of that, you don't really need a full-on application server to serve that stuff up. You really just need a file server because that's all you're serving up is HTML, JavaScript, and CSS.
Now, the one slight tweak on that is you need a build server for these things usually. Like you were using Vue with TypeScript, right? You've got
There's a build step where it compiles the stuff, minifies the JavaScript, combines the CSS. Does all that stuff.
The cool hack with that is we're using GitHub Actions to do the build.
Right. And all that's going to be set up for us. I don't believe we're going to do and it's explaining that.
It's all shown right there. Yeah.
And it does things like, so currently we're using Front Door, which is frankly not cheap. Web Apps does this, which is the globally distributed multiple points of presence, I believe. Integrated API, DevOps, and free SSL, which is also very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually, I mean, that's one of the things to take for granted. But for years, SSL was expensive and it was a pain to set up.
Yeah, that was the hardest part, was getting the SSL to work.
Yeah.
But now it's all baked into the platform. You just sort of turn it on and it goes. Okay. So this module. Okay. So first of all, John, one of the questions before I actually click on this, one of the questions I had is that with Blazor, there are two types of Blazor apps. There's a Blazor server app and there's a Blazor WebAssembly or WASM, whatever.
Yeah.
There's the same thing.
Yeah.
So the way that I understand this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that Blazor server, there is an actual server component. So it looks like a single page application in the sense, in the sense that I understand it. But what's actually happening is there is a socket connection open and you're talking to the server, and the server is actually interpreting the .NET. It's actually running the .NET C# code and sending back HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
That's true. So can you go to, in a browser, go to blazor.net. And I think that, so that has like all the stuff, and you click on read the docs. I just want to show this for people that want to
read the docs, John. We're going to read all the docs in this episode.
So this actually explains the different models, right? But that's a really key point. So the really quick history lesson, the way kind of Blazor first started was at it was at NDC Oslo, and Steve Sanderson, who's built a bunch of cool stuff. He built some I'm forgetting now the name of the front end framework he built, but someone will hopefully tell me.
It was a Knockout.
Knockout, right?
Knockout.js, yeah.
He'd already built that, and so then he was doing this thing of like crazy web technologies, just showing them off with .NET stuff. So he got .NET to run in WebAssembly, and at that time it was super early and experimental, and it was like kind of hacked together. People thought, wow, this is amazing. And then people are like, when can we use this? And it's like, wait a minute, this is a totally early, like the executives at Microsoft were not going to sign on to a new product. Anyhow, so that was Blazor WebAssembly. And it used this whole component model. And people have been really missing components in ASP.NET for a long time. Components are great because you can put together markup and code together, package it, and
yeah.
And you don't really have that with like MVC or things like that, right? So it's been kind of, people have been missing that. And that's part of why people love like React, Angular, Vue, all these front end things, is because they have these great component models. So anyhow, while we were waiting for WebAssembly to mature and also to actually ship this front end thing, because it's actually really complicated what they're doing, they said, you know what, we can actually get this to run on the server, and exactly like you're showing, so this is showing the WebAssembly approach.
Right, yeah.
And then the Blazor server approach is where you've actually got all the processing is happening on the server. SignalR is that socket connection. They call it a circuit. And that's actually sending the stuff down to the browser. Now there's some advantages to using Blazor server. Earlier on, part of it was like, if you didn't have WebAssembly in the browser, all browsers really support WebAssembly now. But some other things that are nice with it is it's actually quicker load and startup because it doesn't have to download this WebAssembly binary, right? So it's actually a tiny little bit of HTML it's downloading, and then it's going and getting all the stuff from the server.
And the thing is, John, I'm not opposed to doing it this way.
No, so we actually can't.
But the thing is, we can't, because static web apps doesn't support that, because this would have to go on app service, right?
Exactly, which kind of defeats the purpose. Yeah, so I'll like speed through this because we're not going to use this. But
the question I have, the concern I have, is that I don't want people to have to download some massive.
It's not that big anymore.
Okay,
it's not.
How big is it?
So you're talking a meg or so.
That's it?
Like, I mean, a few megs. So there's some things we'll look at with trimming. You can trim down the size, but it's pretty small. It's comparable to like some JavaScript frameworks at this point, really.
Okay, well, Well, that's good. Because
Yeah.
that was the other day. I thought it was like 23 megs. I saw
No,
somewhere.
it's so they've done some really cool stuff with like trimming, and so it like so one other thing just to mention is like people will also use Blazor server in the case where you've got like you're having to connect to a bunch of other server resources like databases or stuff like that. It's really easy if you know what I mean, if you're on a server to connect to other servers. So I think what you want to do now actually is delete the old
one.
Yeah, and then create a new one called.
All right, so
or unless you want to give it a new name.
Yeah, well, we could. What would we call it?
Blazor client.
Blazor or Blazor static web apps.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. And then we'll make it public. Include just the main branch. I think is fine.
Okay, so I recommend, because I did this before and I made mistakes, look back at the tutorial.
Let's see. It's prompted for owner. Name your repository.
Don't worry about that.
Private. That's fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So what you did there is you're creating from a template, which is neat. So that's a feature of GitHub that allows you to mark a repo as a template. Anyone can do that. And then if you say you link to this generate link and it actually creates a new repo, you'll see up at the top, Blazor-SWA, and underneath generated from whatever, right?
Right. So the other option is to scaffold a Blazor app with the .NET CLI or with Visual Studio. There's a template in there. We're not doing that. We're using, because we need the static web app setup, which involves an API location. And so this just gets you all the way there, right?
This saves some time. And I actually went through both ways. There is a very cool Azure static web app Visual Studio Code extension, and there's stuff built into Visual Studio for that. But this is really nice because it kind of presets things for you.
All right, so let's clone this thing that we just created.
All right.
We call it Blazor SWA. There it is. Mm-hmm. All right. We'll put it here.
So, and just for fun, you're doing yours on a Mac in VS Code, and I'm on Windows with Visual Studio 2022.
Yes, that is correct. Although I have a PC over here, and I reserve the right to go over to that. I don't think this proves to be a.
Let's find out, but I don't think you should need to at all. Like, I think you'll be just fine here. All right, exciting.
What just happened? That's all I got.
I don't know. That's not right. Did you clone the wrong one?
I don't. Did I?
Maybe.
What did I do?
I don't know. So on the left, it says recent.
I feel like I got to go to the File Explorer and figure this out.
Yeah.
Coming up. Okay, let's see here. Dev. I think I cloned the wrong one. Yeah, that's the other one. So it's already causing problems. We probably should just kill it. Let's try that again. That's not selected though.
While you're doing this, so there are a couple of different templates for Blazor static web app. There's a simple one, which I actually find to be not very useful. And then this is the actual sample one. And the value, like you're saying, that this brings is it has a function app and the Blazor front end, and they're wired together. So, because that's always just a pain. You need an HTTP client. You need to know how they need to know how to find each other and all that stuff. I always say yes to these.
Yes to both?
Yeah. Yes, and restore. So, and I'll talk about what they're doing. So one is it's recommending extensions that are going to make this easier to run a static web app and Blazor. And the other one is, do you want to restore files? And that restore is actually restoring the NuGet packages. So just like, I mean, I'm not sure, probably most of our watchers are pretty used to .NET, but they're just like any other. It's like npm restore or whatever.
Right. So it's your version of npm. I say your.
Yeah.
I
wrote you into
All right. I'm gonna decrease font size just a little bit here. So by the way, I do have the .NET. I just want to check here. Is this right?
Here, wait just a second. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you're good. So you can do. Yeah, that's it. So the way you can check this is go into any of the folders. So go into client.
Okay.
And click on client.csproj. And that's .NET 6. Okay, so we're going to be crazy.
Should I upgrade it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, I always tell people to zoom in. I
know. Me too. I was actually in the middle of creating a new layout. Here, I can do this for us.
I'm scared to touch this stuff because it's like this. What is this, XML?
So it is XML technically. Now we could go through. I think what we want to do is let's get it running and deployed, and then we'll upgrade it. And Victor, we're probably going to go. He's asking if we're going to go .NET 8. I think we actually want to go .NET 7 at this point. I love all the new shiny stuff, but Blazor is actually changing a decent amount in .NET 8. And they probably more than, or it's getting some cool new features and stuff. Remember how we just talked about the Blazor WebAssembly and the Blazor server? And you have to make this choice. And it's like making a choice in programming is always like really painful, right? Because you feel like you're giving up on something. And in .NET 8, they're actually having a cool blended model.
The hybrid?
Well, it's not. So hybrid's already been used for something else. But it's basically a model where you can mark a page or a component, and you can say this one runs on the server, this one runs on the client.
So okay, I got you. So it's like servers. It's like that. I mean, that would be like Next. You have SSR.
Exactly.
What do they used to call it? Isometric or JavaScript, I think. So
yeah,
John, can you address this comment from Little Dan here? Because this is one of the concerns that I have as a front end engineer.
Okay. Well, we're not going to be running on a Raspberry Pi 4. So I guess it kind of depends on, your device. I actually like anything.
What is he saying? Like when he accesses it from the browser? Like, Dan, what are you saying? When you access the app from the browser on a Raspberry Pi 4, or are you actually serving the site from a Raspberry Pi 4? I'm curious because that would be, I mean, just in general on a Raspberry Pi, I have a horrible experience no matter what I do.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me.
Yep.
I know a lot of people really like them. Okay. All right. So we're going to get this thing running. And let's see here. Let's go back to
I'm on the fly creating a new layout for us, Burke. This is very exciting. Here we go.
What are you doing? Oh, for StreamYard. All right.
Yeah.
Finally, run the front-end client application by selecting client as the startup project and launching the debugger. Okay, so this is where this might get interesting.
Yeah, let's find out.
And I
so
just
do. Oh, by the way, do you have installed the C#? Okay, so let's go off the rails a bit. Yeah, do install that C# dev kit. So this was just released, and this now adds like a solution explorer to VS Code, and also makes it a little easier to like do these kind of multi-project launch things.
Sign in.
Yeah, so you're going to want to do all those things. Sign into everything.
Requires a pre-release version.
Just yes to everything. It'll all be cool. Just trust me.
All right. Blind faith. Also, y'all, we've got Copilot on board, Copilot chat, so we're going to use that extensively as we try to get through this. doing things I don't understand.
Yeah, it's downloading the SDK, the .NET SDK. Yep.
So the tutorial is going to have us run this like this, but
we may skip over some of that.
We can't do that. Can we just do a .NET watch from within like the client directory?
You can do that,
but it won't. That won't start the API.
Won't start.
So in order to actually, so I know a thing or two about static web apps, but in order to actually run both of these, I think we're going to need the static web apps CLI.
I think so. Do you want to grab it? You can get
let's grab it. I believe I already have it, but let's just see here.
There's also a static web app extension or an Azure. Gosh, what I just found.
I believe I have it. No.
Yep.
I lie.
You're going to want that. That's going to make you happier too.
Okay.
And we're like figuring it out, right? This is definitely not scripted.
Is this done?
Yes.
This is done?
I think so.
All right, I'm gonna close it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's open the terminal here and just see if we have this. We do not. So we need to get it. And to do that, we need to go to npm, I believe.
You can do that.
The extension and will install it for me.
Yeah, as Sean's saying, you could also just restart. Yeah, this will probably do it.
Select subscriptions. I have a few. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. This is.
Nope. It's actually just this one, and I think I need these two. We'll see. Okay, so I should have static web apps. Yeah, I've got a couple. I actually have a version that I threw up there, but
you're not going to want to do this now for local, right?
Wait, hold on. Uninstall Azure Static Web App CLI. Uninstall? No, install. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is what I was looking for.
Nice. Okay.
Because what we're gonna do here is we're going to, because I believe this runs with Azure Functions.
So what other things are in that ... menu there? Because you may have one on the right side. No, okay. I was thinking there was something that would show the Solution Explorer view.
Solution Explorer.
There you go. So that's going to be a little nicer.
I don't want to see the outline. I don't never use that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think on those, you can run those independently from there too. But so you can do build.
Can you? Okay, so we can say, how do you run it?
I don't know. I guess maybe just build. I don't know. Oh, you just hit the debug thing on the right. Yep.
We've now just left the tutorial and we're doing.
We're totally out the
thinking instructions.
Build failures.
Would you know? So now what do I do?
Let's find out. Do in the terminal do .NET build. It may require you to install to run the client that's an Azure Function app. Yeah, try .NET build.
Do I need to go into the API folder first?
Yes.
Okay.
See, yeah. 2 errors. So we may need to install also an Azure Function thing.
Build failed.
It's a lot of red.
Okay.
Error, you must install.
Where do you see this? Oh, you must install or update .NET to run this application. But I have .NET.
You do have .NET. It's .NET -- version. I wonder if we need prereqs because it's .NET 6, and also there may be some requirements for running Azure Functions that we need to install. Like there's an Azure Function emulator, the Function SDK. Yep. Is that the newest?
I have no idea.
Okay, let's Google or something, find that out.
So let's do, in this case, I'm going to do
not static function.
Yeah, static functions, Azure Functions. It's already there. So functions, install or update Azure Functions core tools. It's just easier this way.
Yeah.
Did it do it?
I don't know. What window is it in?
Not this one. He needs the Functions SDK.
Victor says back to the tutorial, but we're like, we already broke all the prereqs for the tutorial.
There he goes.
So. Okay, it's doing things.
Tools.
Brew update.
He says, Sean says restart VS Code. That's not a bad idea.
Wouldn't hurt after it installs all this business. So the thing is, I know I've run Azure Functions on a Mac.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's completely. Static web apps is all my static web apps work is done on Mac. So
yeah,
upgrading.
All right. Yeah, so that was a thing I was thinking here is we may want to install the .NET 6 SDK. Wouldn't hurt. Normally, so the SDK is different than the runtime. Normally, the SDK, a greater number of the SDK can run any of the previous ones, previous runtimes, but sometimes when you've got different dependencies, it wouldn't hurt. So that's possible too. So once it finishes doing this, let's try and build it. If that fails, restart VS Code. If that fails, then we'll maybe install the .NET 6 SDK. Sound good?
Yeah, sure. I'm just waiting for this thing to go. Let's go.
And this is exactly what I was expecting would happen the first. We're just getting stuff set up, right?
Yeah.
Code run.
It would have just worked. I say just worked because I did it yesterday. As far as scaffolding a new Blazor app, the problem is, like, I don't know how to turn that into a static web app. I have no clue how to do that with .NET.
So I can talk through this a bit. It's actually surprisingly simple. You create a new. It's actually kind of magic. We're making an investment now because we're hooking up the client and the API. If you just create a brand new Blazor app and you deploy it as a static web app, when you do that, the Azure static web app system, you give it rights to a GitHub repo, and you hook it to your GitHub repo. And what's magic with that is it actually installs the GitHub actions for you. I don't think I explained that well at all. But basically, yeah.
It adds a YAML file.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So
do you want to run through this? We can.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we can do this, like while we're waiting for this over here.
Is it taking a while?
It's taking a bit. And I also know that like this becomes this, I believe.
Yeah, you want to go to another folder too, maybe?
I'm in a different folder. Yeah.
Okay.
I just need a new project name. We're just call it the URL list. This is how you end up with 1,000 folders. Every developer here knows exactly what.
Yeah. My new app 35.
All right. Okay, I think this will work.
Yeah. So Chris is saying this. Absolutely part of the point of what we're doing here. right? Like I was chatting with Peggy, who helps set the show up, and before the show, this is totally part of what we're doing. This is real life. This is what we do regularly every day. We've both been programming for decades. We're constantly Googling and binging and chat GPTing and, phoning a friend and trying to get our code to work, right? And it was tempting to try and plan this out beforehand. And we decided, we made
refuse the urge. Yeah. Even though I did anyway, right? Like I wasn't supposed to, and I did it anyway.
Burke. Yep. Okay. Right, so you've got a Blazor app there. .NET.
Yes. And I believe all I need to do to run this is go here and do, and all I did there, y'all, was I just opened I scaffolded a project that just opened it in VS Code. I think it's just this, man. I think it's just this.
Totally works. So it used to be .NET Run. What's cool with .NET Watch is it'll watch for you to edit your code, and it will like update your running app as it goes. So there's your app. So then there's your home page. You click on counter, and that's kind of this integrated thing there. And then if you click on fetch data, it's actually, this is a client server thing. So it's actually going back to the server. It's making an API call back to the server to get that weather data.
Awesome. So
yeah,
if we were going to turn this into a static web apps project, how would we do that? This is where I would know.
Let me walk you through this, because this is something I slightly know. Click on, so first stop it from running. So just
actually, though, John, I don't want to do this. Hold on, watch this. Watch this, though, y'all.
No, you don't have to.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But wait, I'll be right back. Watch this. But it's okay. Oh no, now I'm panicking. How do I get that command back? I still got it.
Just up there a few times, right?
Boom. Now watch this. Wait. This is what I actually want. And I got to use I think I got to use the camel case to be .NET compliant, right? Like I can't be all lowercase. What's the right? What's culturally correct here, chat? What do I do? Do I use?
Are you saying if it should be? They do. Yeah. This is, see, look there. I would do the Pascal case.
Pascal. So like this is this Pascal case?
Oh no, that's kebab case with the dashes. You don't need those dashes.
Pascal case. Okay, so it would just be the URL list Blazor like this.
Yeah.
Right? That's how a proper .NET.
Yeah. Now, why are you doing it empty? Just because you can?
Because I don't want all that stuff in there. We're gonna have to dig all that out. I don't want all that.
Okay, but this is not our app we're actually gonna use, right?
This is just, maybe it is.
Okay.
So now
you want to deploy this as a static web app.
Exactly. Right? I think it's like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, that's a cool thing you showed, by the way, that -R says basically reload in that directory.
Yeah, just reuse the same window. Otherwise, it spawns a new VS Code window, and you have 60 VS Code windows open before you know what happened.
Okay, so you're starting it up.
Yes, we are restoring here. And this, I don't know. Well, I mean, I'll run it. It just shows hello world, right? It's really simple. It's just an index page with an H1 in it.
Yep. So once that happens, we're going to use the static web app VS Code extension,
which we have here under Azure. And we do what?
So you're going to, you're first going to connect to a resource.
Oh, so we're going to deploy it? Because, we have to create it somewhere.
You have to, you're going to want to create it, and it needs all that stuff so down, So if you click on static web apps, then there should be a thing.
Sorry, hold on. Let me go here. I have to find, so y'all in our Azure subs, you have to put things in the right place so they get cleaned out. And if I put it in my own sub, that's exactly what's going to happen, which I do not want.
So static apps.
Let me see if it's here. Yeah, the static web app CLI will do it. Oh, well, the static web app CLI will do it for me too. Let's see. I love LAMP.
Nice.
I made that one.
Now, I do think this is a throwaway one because we're going to want the one with the function.
But I'm saying, like, can't we just add that to this one, or no? It won't initialize.
You can, but it's a pain. You're going to want your function to run locally. Here's why. So I went through this. You're going to want your front end to talk to the back end. And so you got to hook up an HTTP client from the front end. And then you got to like manage the connection between the two and all that kind of stuff. So.
All right. So I've upgraded here. What are we? We're back on the other one that we scaffolded.
Okay. So now do .NET build in the.
Take Sean's advice.
Yeah.
We'll reload VS Code. So we want to go to, what's it doing? It's restoring? No, it already did it.
Terminal.
So let's do .NET build.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Okay, so what did it say? So we may need to install. Did we restart VS Code? This is a newly restarted VS Code.
We did.
I think it's saying you need to install the update.NET, installer update.NET. So why don't we just go for that? I know .NET. So let's update to .NET from .NET 6 to .NET 7. So the way we'll do that is go into so do a find replace for net 6.0
in the whole project, or just this file?
Whole everything, the whole folder.
All right, that's Command Shift F, everybody.
All right.
For net 6.
Yeah, and then
.NET 6, net 6. There we go.
Net 6, and replace them all with net 7.
Okay.
Yeah, this is totally going to work.
There's no turning back.
It's also then it'll require probably updating some packages too.
Boom. Replace it. It's too late now. Now what?
So that's not everything. Now look where it says package reference and scroll over to the right. Maybe. I guess they're fine. Let's try .NET build.
No, what in the world?
When I said it's totally going to work. All right. So what is going on there? Is it still you need to?
You must. So it's in the function .NET 4.1 build Microsoft function start. You must install or update .NET to run this application.
So which version of Azure? What is the latest? Let's look. Microsoft Net SDK functions. So go on to
NuGet.org.
NuGet.org. And search for Burke.
Let's ignore that. You didn't see that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That didn't happen.
Okay, so we can copy that package name out of that thing there.
Here?
Yes.
I didn't get the M, but there we go.
Yeah. Latest version 4.2.0. So it looks like potentially their generator isn't upgraded with the best thing. So that we want to replace not that one, the one below it. Yeah, okay. You can search for that too.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah, that should be 4.2.0.
Okay. And then what about this one?
Yeah, let's search that boy up too.
Okay. Should be.
And while you're doing that, I'll try and answer this question. Why use Blazor when we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Super great point. I mean, we totally could do that, right? So you built the original version in Vue. There's a few reasons. One is like because we can. Like I don't know. It's kind of nice to have your functions code and your front end code both using C#. That's kind of nice. It's using web standard technology. Like WebAssembly is web standard now, and it's I mean, it's fast, it's performant, it's there's trade-offs to things, like, you know, we'll see like what the download size is, but for instance, like on the .NET website, we saw that before, the community stand-up page, that is built using Blazor, and it's fast, and it's, you know, I think too that, you know, there's trade-offs. Like, I don't subscribe to the I hate JavaScript, you know, let's do everything in C#. But I will say I'm more productive in C#. Okay. It did restore. It's still giving the errors.
Oh no, it said determining projects. All projects are up to date. Okay, build succeeded. Yeah, I think that by the time the whole project was set up, we would have had time to port it to React.
Well, so part of why we're doing this too is we need to do some kind of more advanced stuff. We need to set up auth. We wanted to look at using like GitHub auth. We want to be able to do some, and then also over the years we've talked about like, hey, wouldn't it be neat if the APIs, like we had authenticated APIs where we could do some more advanced things with them. So I think getting it onto this kind of code base like will allow us to do a little bit more with this. Plus, it's fun. Who doesn't want to learn?
Yeah, it's just, like, yeah, because we can, I think is the right answer here. Right? Like, and also because like I want to see what Blazor can actually do, right? Like we need, by the way, there's a huge storm rolling in, so I reserve the right to unceremoniously end this stream when my internet connection drops. There's SaaS building. I want to see if Blazor can handle that. I want to see what the component model is. I'm curious about what the binding model is. I'm curious about what the performance is. I'm curious about, you know, what do you do when you need to drag and drop in a list? Because those components are everywhere for Vue and React. What do you do in Blazor? So part of it is me just wanting to poke it as well and find out what it can actually do.
Honestly, I think that's kind of the best thing. Like your experience with Vue, you've already done this before using Vue. Like that's kind of boring to do it again, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we could, but
why not learn something new and try it out? Okay, we got some sort of red business.
The executable to run could not be determined.
Okay, so here I'm bouncing us around quite a bit. So are you in the folder?
I am in, I am.
I think you need to launch it using the func start, whatever. Like you don't actually.
Gotcha. Okay. So in that case, let's just, it's going to die anyway. So here it's just func start, I believe, right?
I think. Okay, so let's find out what's happening. We may not have all the stuff installed, and you may need to use you may want to use
Python. What
you doing? We may need to give it some command. It really wants us to run Python. I don't know. That's a little too much. I'm not ready to learn Python.
Azure Web Jobs script.
We may need to update some stuff in here too.
Okay.
Well, look in the data folder, by the way, no. I was thinking we didn't update the data, but we did. Yeah, never mind.
No job functions found. Try making your job classes and methods public.
I think he's saying architecture not supported. Can you scroll up a bit more? We may need.
Oh, it's because it's M1? Because I'm on an M1 Mac? Is that possible?
So I think that we may need to, let's take a look at the docs for how do you get Azure Functions to run on an M1 Mac.
Okay. Let's see.
Either that or try and run from the extension, but.
Do not support Python functions.
We're not on a Python.
We're not using Python functions.
Yeah. So why it's thought that.
Is it just throwing that error, but it's actually running?
Let me see. SWA. The terminal host.
Can't determine project language from files. Please use one of the following. So what
okay, so just do a --C#.
Yeah.
Okay, reading helped a little.
All right.
Yeah.
Just read the error. Read the error. I don't have time for that, man. I'm trying to. There's a literal hurricane outside my window.
Wow.
Slightly.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if these endpoints work.
Yeah.
Where's the get? Products delete, products post, products put. There's.
I mean,
right?
you'd think, I think.
No, there's a wait. Is it just?
So I think now we're at the point where we want to go back to the tutorial we're kind of working through, because I think it has you write the get function.
So what do I need to do?
Go back to the browser and check out the get or the
1 second here.
The tutorial where
I gotta increase my volume, which is not working because the rain is so darn loud. Output speakers. All right, should be better. All right, sorry, John. Say it one more time. I did not hear you at all.
Go back to the tutorial in the browser.
Okay.
And let's find out. Let's try and get back on track.
Browse to your app.
Oh,
once it's to run it, I gotta run the client.
Okay, so you ran that. Open a new terminal. CD into the client and .NET Watch. All right, very exciting. Your connection is not private. Oh, this is
what? Of course it is. Don't be ridiculous. Is it because of this?
It could be.
Why is it trying to send it over HTTPS?
Because reasons. Okay, check. So scroll up a bit. There is.
Oh, where?
Scroll up in the terminal. We may need to install the dev certs. See there? Okay, scroll. It said something about not trusted. So scroll down a little bit more. It's telling us the answer.
The ASP or developer certificate is not trusted.
So you can actually run that command and trust the cert. So or you can click on that and it'll take you to it.
This.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to tell you to do
this.
Exactly what Zom says. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
So Control-C it and or whatever. You want to do it in the.
I need another terminal instance here.
That works too. So there are options, as Abhishek is saying, that ASP.NET runs HTTP and HTTPS. And you can either switch your port and go to the HTTP port. It's better to do with HTTPS, I believe.
Because that's how we're going to run it in production.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so I think here on the
now you can Control-C it and run it again.
Do y'all hear this monsoon?
Not at all.
I mean, I can barely hear you. It's so bad. Come on.
We're getting like rated.
Look at this.
Wonderful.
My shopping list is here. Okay, so the title's right. It's trying. What's going on?
Yeah, this is all good. This is exciting. Hey, we got a raid, which is exciting.
A what?
It's from Coding After Work. We got raided on Twitch.
Oh, nice. I don't know what
that is. Thanks for the raid.
No clue.
So I'll fill people in for people that are raiding. We are porting an app that was written years ago with Vue and Azure Functions, and we're porting it over to run Blazor on Azure static web apps. And we're figuring it out as we go. We are getting a lot of errors and trying to fix them. Syntax error. Cannot use blah blah blah. What the?
That looks like that's in the WebAssembly.
It's a new one for me.
Because the Blazor project that this template includes actually comes from a 6 and not a 7.
possible? Let's check it out. And if it is, let's see. So go into pages. And where was the error? Index?
Index. Like what I'm saying is if we took this project here.
I mean, you could.
It into the client.
So part of the, yes, I think it's worthwhile to try and get this working. And the reason is because part of why we're using this template is because it has a front end and a back end that hook together. So it's we're going to have to get that working.
Oh, he's saying, are we failing to import an environment variable? Is that possible? I mean, I don't know. This looks pretty like system level.
Yeah. Okay. So can I use that?
This is a JavaScript error.
Let's like, I don't know, command reload it or something. This seems like a, yeah, I can hear it now. That is noisy out there.
See, what I'm thinking is, man, there's a lot of stuff in this.
You know what? I'm interested. You could actually probably skip over this part and deploy it, and I could run it locally on my machine. I could see it
still run.
Probably.
All right.
So Omer said, "Is your API still running?"
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. If I go here, can't be found, but I mean it's because it's a put. The browser's doing a get, but
yeah.
Why is there not a get?
Oh, so that's, I think, part of the thing. Like, what is the products page in the client doing?
The products page.
Because it's saying navigate to products.
Products.
So Glenford's saying we have outdated cached files. That's very possible. Okay, so if we scroll down in here, what is in code?
Glenford said it's because you have outdated cached files.
Yeah.
But I cleared the cache.
Same error.
Yep.
That is a weird one. Here, let me Googlify this. What is it? Imports dot meta?
It is, yeah. And also we can do this just for fun.
Yeah.
AI is the answer to everything. In case you didn't know. AI is literally SharePoint. It solves all your problems.
Dude, there's this exact thing on Stack Overflow. Make sure you don't have any packages using .NET 6 versions. .NET list package -- outdated.
He's saying somebody's suggesting do a full clean of the build.
Yeah.
Is a good idea. So .NET clean. That is it. All right, so let's try it again. This is why the chat's great, because usually when I give sessions, a lot of times people in the audience will yell out the answer because they're just smarter than I am. All right. No, it's still something quite wrong.
Okay, clear cache. If you have users and they have updating, oh gosh, updating WebAssembly. I'm going to throw this just in our chat because this is a thing I'm looking at on Stack Overflow. So what's going on is we are updating a Blazor app from .NET 6 to .NET 7, and we're hitting some weird issue.
Yeah.
And I'm stubbornly saying I think it's worth updating this app from .NET 6 to .NET 7. Okay, so if we update out,
clear the cache.
So this is something we can do. So go into your index and just add a version number to the WebAssembly link. If that makes sense. Does that make sense what it's saying? Did I lose Burke? I think Burke's frozen. Are people seeing me move but not Burke? The storm came for Burke. I think, oh my goodness. Okay, well, I guess that's going to wrap us up. That is exciting. So we made some decent progress. We got our things sort of started. We actually didn't get our code deployed, which I was hoping we would do. I think we have a pretty good excuse. I don't think he's pretending it was a storm. I think it was a real storm. So what we're going to do, this is going to be a weekly show. We love all the everyone asking questions, giving us the comments, telling us the answers. That's great. Our kind of roadmap is we're going to deploy the app. We're going to be building this out on a GitHub project. So it's going to be totally open source. You can, and we, over time, we'll figure out like how to take pull requests or whatever. I want to show an example. I'm going to throw up a new screen and share it here. And I'll just show an example of what we've done in the past here with this sort of thing. So let me share my screen. Screen share. Totally winging it. Here we go. No, not that screen. We're going this screen here. Cool. So this is a site that James Montemagno and I built, live coding, kind of the same approach. And so we did this, I believe, if we go GitHub, I don't know. Let me look here. I think it was in my repo, and it was community stand-up, repositories, community. Gosh. Well, what we did, I'll try one more search, community stand-up. Maybe it was in James's. We built a, well, regardless, we built this site out on the fly, live streamed, and we did it using a GitHub project. Hey, Burke's back. All right. Burke, I was kind of
tethered on my phone with like 1 bar.
I was kind of wrapping
I'm tethered. Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah, let's wrap it up. And then I think you and I can troubleshoot this. And then next time we can make some actual progress in trying to get this thing published. And also we should update our Learn module maybe.
That sounds good. Yeah, really, because what we want to do is, the template should probably be .NET 7, or the Learn module should work with VS Code or something, right? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, so what I was saying too is that we're going to be doing this using a GitHub project, and we'll be doing like we'll manage our roadmap kind of publicly, I'm hoping. I'm kind of springing some of this on you, but meaning GitHub issues and the GitHub project, and we'll say like, hey, here's what we'll do next time, and then we'll also, people can file issues or make recommendations or stuff on it too. So. It's possible Burke just dropped again. I think we're in a great place to wrap up. Thanks everyone for watching. Leave comments on the show with what you like, didn't like, what you want to see more of, and happy to answer your questions. So
awesome. So yeah, my internet's back. I feel like I just want to stay here and try to figure this out. Like
do you?
I know you have to bail, don't you? Don't you have somewhere you
gotta no, wait? I have another half hour. If you want to keep working through it, I mean, I'm game.
I'm now I'm like
I did tell everyone we were leaving, but we have 150 people watching. We might as well go.
It's a thing. Now I'm upset about it.
Okay. Back with more energy. Okay. Sean, yeah. Keep going. Okay.
Keep going. Yeah. What? There's got to be.
What was the issue? So, okay. So what you want to do, I know kind of the answer to this. You want to go into your HTML file in here. So
you have to bear
root
navigating a project
index. You're going to scroll for the JavaScript Blazor WASM reference.
Oh, that would be probably at the bottom here. Oh, the old time
question mark, blah, blah, blah.
Cache busting hack.
Exactly. Yep. Now let's try and rerun that. There you go. Hot reload. Loving it.
All right, let's go back. That's the counter. This is the thing. Yeah, I don't think the cache is it. Because let
me look. Let's look back at what Stack Overflow is telling us. Check your version, .NET version, and then check your version of. Okay, let's go to. So if you want to do 5,000, yeah, you can go either HTTP 5,000 or HTTPS 5,000.
5,001. Gotcha. I don't know that makes a difference, but yeah, same error.
Yeah.
And it is, just to make sure, it is trying to get blah, 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 blah.
Can you change the script to type equals module? Maybe.
Yo, that's so much stuff.
Yeah, we're running in debug, so you're not normally going to see that sort of thing. Yeah, okay. Let's see if other people are saying just clearing, like, so you're doing a full browser
cache? Yeah, I mean, the cache is cleared. We can also do
clearing
the site data, unregistering service workers. I've cleared everything.
All right. Downloading the things. Still got that error. Can you go back into the project in VS Code? This is so much suspense here. We have an error. We have dropping internet. Is Burke gone? Is he leaving us hanging right after I did the whole show wrap-up business? While he's doing that, I will at least get my is he gone? I think he's gone again. Yep. All right. So I think I'm going to call it here because I think he's going to keep coming and going and leaving us in suspense. And it's just too. I'm not up for this emotional roller coaster today. We'll figure out what it is. We will share the information next time out. Like I do believe it probably is going to be outdated packages, references, whatever. So we'll get him to publish the code. I also want to run it on my machine. I wouldn't be surprised if it runs on my machine and it is just local cache or whatever. So thanks everyone for watching. Do leave those comments and let us know what you'd like to see more of, questions you've got and all that. And we'll find out what happens as Burke continues to learn Blazor and all that. Thanks for your time. Catch you next week. And I will find our fancy thanks for watching video before Burke rejoins again.